What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back. Today we're working on my Git GUI. His name is Spit, and I apologize, my stream just crashed. It's going to take a second to get a demo up and running. But the idea is I have, how to say this? I've tried a lot of Git GUIs, and a lot of them don't seem to be kind of targeted towards my use case, and my use case is I'm proficient on the command line, right? But going git log or git with like you showing my alias for like a little like branch view, whatever, interacting with git this way kind of sucks. But you know, I haven't really found a way that I prefer to like review code than to actually just run this like git alias that shows like commit log and diffs in the terminal. Because of this like diff with move thing, and as well as like if I'm trying to like rebase and stuff, it's kind of silly to be going around and like I'll like copy paste commit hashes and stuff like that. And you know, I'm kind of thinking like there's got to be like a better way. And so I wrote a GUI that kind of is meant to be used like in conjunction with the command line, I guess. So it's not supposed to like replace it. It's not trying to like hide anything from me. It's trying to show basically a glorified git log and respond to changes that are made from the command line because it knows that that's going to be happening, right? And so that's kind of like the idea behind the project. And where we're at right now is we're trying to add like index support. So the idea is I'm doing a lot of like git add, git commit, git add dash p, like to add like like how do I like stage some files and commit them, I guess. And that wasn't like really present because we were only git log. So last stream we added like index support. So here I can see a list of like staged files. There's one staged file with one change in it. Oops, this is a little bit backwards. We have to fix that. This is supposed to be added, not removed. But we're getting somewhere. And what I wanted to add today was support for the work tree. So basically I want to replace running git status. Right, that's effectively all I want to do. So I say like touch test.c, git status. Right, I want to be able to see this file here, which I don't see right now. So yeah, that's what I want to do today. And I think the plan of action is approximately, we need to find some way to like represent the work tree state to the application so that he knows which files to diff to the index and like what to show here. Then we need to like extract some sort of diff with the index, which I think should be pretty easy. And we need to like find some way to like present that in the GUI. And then probably after we handle all that is probably when we'll want to tackle like, okay, someone needs to be monitoring our working directory for changes and should be like updating the GUI as those changes show up. I think should be pretty straightforward. I think we can just like jump into it. Okay, so we're at 3:15 into stream, and we are going to say, how are we going to represent work straight? Just got back from the store with Ben and Jerry's. Perfect timing. Nice. Ice cream and coding, a good combo. Okay. So let's see. How is this laid out right now? Let's like think about like the index and try to use that as like a template for what we should do for the work tree. Fuck me, man. Where is my pens? I lost them. No. Settings. Toolbars. Text toolbox. Dude. Oh, that's annoying. Where is my paintbrushes? Okay, well, I think we can work with black for now, but I'm going to have to figure this out eventually. So I'm thinking right now we have our like app over here. And we have our GUI over here. And if I remember correctly, it's like something along the lines of the application has like a notifier thread. Notifier. And he's like watching the Git directory for changes. He like says, hey, repo updated. And then the app says, okay, so what's my like current repository state? So he goes and like looks at the repo and gets like a repo state. and he sends that over to the GUI. The GUI like checks if we are trying to look at the index. So he's like, which thing is selected? Selected. Which thing is selected? And if the index is selected, he goes like, hey, could you give me a diff for the index? Diff index, please. And he only sends that if the repo state is like indicated that the index is not what we have right now. So like we will like the GUI caches the index diff, and he knows like which files are in which state. And so like the repo state goes like, hey, index now has this file instead of that file. And the GUI goes like, oh shit, could you please give me like the updated diff? Then he sends that back over the GUI. Oh, fuck off, Twitch. So because my stream crashed, the 3-minute ad I ran before just like doesn't count. It's gonna run another fucking 3-minute ad. That's so annoying. Can I skip this one entirely? No, it doesn't let me. Oh, that's so fucking annoying. All right, sorry guys, you're gonna get hit with an ad, and I don't know if I can stop it. Sorry about that. Oi. All right. So I think that our repository state here should track somehow like the working directory state in some way. We probably want a list of all files in the working directory. Probably. And as files change, we can say, hey, is this different than what is in the repo or in the index right now? And I think that seems pretty reasonable. Seems reasonable. Well, or we could only store modified files. I guess that would work as well. And then the GUI can decide to request like a full, like an actual diff of those guys later if he wants. I think that makes sense. So probably we have somewhere we have this like repo state thing. And in here, we're going to have some sort of like workdir. Who's going to have a workdir state. Like this. Workdir state. And what's he going to have inside of him? He's going to have like files, which I guess have a hash map of path buff to something. What's that something going to be? Like workdir item state or something. I don't know. Struct workdir item state. And he is going to have like modified, I guess. You know, he'll say, maybe that's it. Well, we could say that this is going to be only modified files. Okay. Then this could just be like a vector of path buffs. Which seems fine. Maybe. Maybe like a hash set of path buffs, so that we don't have to worry about them like sorting and them getting out of order. Sure. Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. So when we populate the repository state, we need to do something. So maybe we'll say that that's the responsibility of the repository. Okay. And so we can go into the repository thing, and he has a function index. We'll just put workdir right next to him. So we'll say like pub create function workdir. And he is going to return a workdir state. And what's he going to do? He's going to walk all of the files in the repo. Walk files in repo. He probably has to like respect git ignore, as well as like git info exclude and stuff. And for each file in repo, compare to index. I think that's reasonable. I was like skimming through some of the like Git source code and libgit source code, and it does look like what they do is they just actually diff the file with the version in the index, and that's how you get like your git status. And I think that I don't really want to do like a full diff here. Maybe I just want to do like a memcomp or something, like just a straight up are the bytes of this file like, identical or not. Sure. Okay. So probably like libgit2 must have some way. Hold on. Unimplemented. Cargo check. So libgit2 must have some sort of way to like walk the working directory and get files that are untracked as well. We want to go like libgit2 git2 in docs.rs. Okay. Let's see. Surely there's something. So on the repository, is there some way to be like, give me working directory objects? Object, blah, 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 discover, index, init, bear, blah, 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 merge, namespace, open. Is there anything that's just like, list my shit, please? Workdir? Get the path of the working directory? Could we maybe... I guess we could just walk... I don't really want to like parse the git ignore and stuff. That's the problem, is I want to see what exists without... that's like not present in git ignore right now. I found the best route for finding is go to libgit docs and look for it in git2. What's in like libgit docs? Samples for doing things. Commits, trees, walking. Why? Yeah, so you could like walk the tree, but the trees are associated with like trees are associated with objects themselves. Whatever. I'll just like fuck it. We'll look at the libgit2 source code. So I know that there's like some sort of like, I know that at least if I call git status or libgit2 status, that's going to give me, at the very least, it can find untracked files. So I know that the other day we were looking at this like statuses thing, and it could show us, hold on, it could show us things like work tree modified this file, work tree new, there's like a new file in the work tree. So surely like whatever they're doing must walk the directory in some way. So maybe we can start there by looking for like wt new. And in status.c, he has some sort of work tree new thing. Where does he? Oh, these are tests. Oh, I don't want tests. Fuck. Source libgit2. So let's look for work tree new. Okay. So here he says workdir delta to status, and he has some sort of delta here, and he's saying, hey, this is an untracked file, so now I'm going to flag that as a new thing. Okay. Status compute, blah, 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 index delta to status, sure. Status collect cos status compute with these things, okay. So somebody populates this like index to workdir thing. So he has git diff paired for each index to workdir. So this is coming from git status list new. I see. Okay. So this is where he constructs that like status iterator that we were looking at the rest side. And where does he like walk files? That's really diff tree to index, diff index to workdir. Aha. Okay. This is probably it. Yeah, so we can look at git diff index to workdir. And probably this returns like an int. Yep, cool. So he gets get iterator for workdir. Ah, yeah, this is promising. Get iterator for workdir. And what does this return, like an int? Close. Get iterator for workdir. Get iterator for workdir. I wish, maybe I should fucking set up indexing here so I don't have to fucking use grep like this so aggressively. Oh yeah, okay, this is it here. So they have get iterator for workdir calls get iterator for workdir x. Got it. Which is in iterator.c get iterator for workdir. Okay, so what does he do? He just calls iterator for file system, get iterator for file system. So is this like exposed in like this here? Iterator file system workdir diff tree to workdir blah 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 workdir ID workdir path. So are these like supposed to be? Is this like something that's like exposed by libgit2 externally? Get iterator for file system. Libgit2 API. No. Okay. Workdir. Get iterator. No. Okay. Workdir. Set workdir. Describe workdir. This is me. Perform the describe operation on the current commit and work tree. A status is run and the description is considered to be dirty, blah, blah, blah. What is describe? What is describe? This gives me a result. Maybe this isn't what I want. Describes commit. Performs a describe operation on the current commit and work tree. After performing a describe on head, a status is run. The description is considered to be dirty if there are. What is get describe? Oh, yo. Give a human object variable name. Sure. Okay, so that's not what I want. Dude, why is this so hard? I know that they have a way to like iterate working directory. Get iterator for workdir. Like, is this just not exposed externally? How do I tell what is exposed externally and what's not? Like, libgit2 include. And do they have iterator in here? No. Do they have iterator in here? No, okay. So it looks like that iterator.h thing is not like an external thing, which is fucking annoying. But maybe we can search for workdir in all of the headers here and see if there's any sort of thing. Status.h, apply, ignore. Ooh. Okay. So we could just say, we could just walk the tree ourselves and ask which paths are ignored. That's not crazy. Otherwise, it doesn't, I don't really see a ton of stuff in here. Path spec match workdir. Match path spec against working directory, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, I don't really see anything else in here that looks like it would give me one. We could call diff tree to workdir, but I don't know if I want to do that. I don't really want to use their diffing. I just want a list of valid files. Okay, yes, that's what we'll do. We'll walk the file system ourselves and ask for this like we'll ask if it's a path we're allowed to use, which means that probably in here there's some sort of like ignore. What's it called? Get ignore path is ignored. So do they have is path ignored? Yes. To get yeah, here we go. Test if the ignore rules applied to given path. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Okay. That seems reasonable. So let's say let workdir is equal to self get to repo workdir. Or do we already store ourselves? We have repo root, I think, which is something that we're supposed to use. Yep, I think that's right. So we can just say what? For f in repo root. And maybe we have what? You have like some sort of like Rust directory iterator. Ooh, in stud fs we have read dir. Okay. So I guess we want to do something like add a function that's like something like function find files modified files in dir, and he's going to take in some sort of path this, and he's going to return a vector of path buffs. Yeah, that seems reasonable. And so he's gonna also take in the libget2 reference. So I think that's a get to repository. And what's he gonna do? He's going to say for entry in stud fs read dir, which I guess we should just say fs read dir path. And this probably returns a result. Yep, so we're gonna say, I guess we give a result here. And here we might say like let dir iter is equal to fs read dir path with some context saying like failed to get directory iterator. Okay, sure. And then we say for entry in dir iter. Perfect. What do we do now? We look at each entry, and if it's a directory, well, I guess first you have to like try to look at the entry. So we'll say let entry is equal to entry context failed to load item. I don't know. File failed to like what is this even doing? So we have like these like read dirs, and the read dir iterator gives like a result of dir entry. So it's like failed to iterate directory iterator. I don't know. Failed to iterate directory. Sure. And we'll just return early. I guess like theoretically you could like continue here because you don't really like hard failing here might not make sense, but I don't care for now. And then we look at the entry, and what is this guy? It's a dir entry, and so we can say, what is his path? Entry path is equal to entry path. And then we can ask get to repo is path ignored. We look at the entry path. We say if this is ignored, we continue. We don't give a shit. Context failed to check ignore for file. What's next? So if the path isn't ignored, we need to load the path from the get to repo. or from the index. So from the index, can we maybe get, what does this do? Gets the entries. No, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. So here on the index, I want to like say, hey, give me the file contents of the thing at this path. Which maybe doesn't exist. Read a tree into the index file. No. Read the contents of an existing blah, blah, blah. Oh, get path. Get one of the entries in the index by its path. What the fuck is a stage? And then this will give me its ID. Yeah. I don't know what like an index stage is. Get index stage. Maybe we look at like the get to API and we look at index path. What was the function called? It was called get path. Get path. Doesn't look like it's on there. What do we have on index here? Get index get by path. Here we go. Stage to search. But what does it mean? What does it mean? Index entry. I guess it's kind of like indicating that the index can support like multiple staging areas. I guess I've just never seen that concept before. But this like index entry doesn't really, I don't see a stage in here anywhere. And like, what is like the, what are you supposed to pass into that? I guess we need some sort of like examples. Use in files, ls files. Get index stage normal. Ah, okay, wait, where does that come from? Where does that come from? Stage. So there's no constants in like this whole thing for stages. Get index stage normal. Here we go. Okay, so match any index stage. So there's normal stage file, ancestor side of a conflict. Ah. Of course. And I guess stage here isn't anywhere. What about if we look for like any normal ancestor index conflict? Here we go. But it doesn't really, that's not something that we can use here. So I guess this API is just, I just have to copy paste the number, I guess. Okay, sure. Sure. So we'll just say get path, and we'll provide the entry path with stage -1, and I guess we'll say const stage any is a i32, and he's equal to -1, and we'll put a little comment on here saying get to index.h get index stage t, and maybe we'll provide a reference to this ls files example. Okay, and then here we say stage any. Okay, so now we have an index entry who has an ID, and we'll say let index obj ID is equal to this, and I guess there's a chance that the ID is not, or sorry, the like object does not exist in the index if it's untracked. Which means we have to where were we? We have to check that somehow. So get path has an option. So I guess we'll say match index entry is equal to this. I guess we'll also extract the index out here. So we'll say let index is equal to get to repo index unwrap. Okay. And I guess we have to update the index as well. And I think that means he needs to be mutable, I think, if I remember correctly. Okay. So then we can say match index or index entry is equal to match index get path entry path stage any. Okay. And if it is some value, we propagate the value, and if it's none, we mark this thing as modified and move on. So I guess we have let ret is equal to vet canoe. Yup. And in here, we just say ret push entry path and continue. And then at the end here, we return ret. Okay. We're getting closer for sure. Okay. So now if the thing does exist, we have to load the content of the file. So from the index, we'll say let index file content is equal to get to repo, and there's got to be some sort of like way to load a file by object ID. Blob. Write in-memory buffer to the ODB as well. No, I want the other way around. Find blob. Yeah. That's what I want. So we want to find the blob with that object ID. Yup. And for now, we'll just say context failed to find blob. And we'll just fail the whole thing in that case. Fuck it, I don't care. And this isn't index file content, is it? Blob. Yeah, okay, it is. And index blob, we'll call it. Index blob. Entry blob. Okay, so the index entry blob, we're going to compare that with our file. So I guess we're going to say std fs read. Do we have to read it to a string? I don't really want to read it to a string. I just want to read it to a bucket of bytes. Here we go. So we just read the path, which is entry path. Okay, and index content is index entry blob content, right? And then we'll just say if entry content is not equal to index content, we push the entry path. Okay. What doesn't it like here? So this is a entry content is a result, so we have to unwrap here, or context failed to read content of entry or something. All right. All right. That might work. So now somewhere, modified files with index, blah, blah, blah. Where were we going to call this guy from? Here, workdir. So oh, hold on, we aren't done here. So this guy is only going to do that for files. He needs to like match the type of the thing that we're looking at. So dir entry. And which means instead of reading, can you compare SHAs? Yeah, but like, why would I guess. Like, that's just like extra computation for no reason, I think. I guess you could figure out what the blob would look like if you were to add it to the index. You could get like the get object ID for that thing. But I think that's like semi-complex. Just a little bit, right? Like you don't know if the get hashes are going to be using like SHA1, SH256. If I remember correctly, it supports multiple different hashing types. So we need to find some way in libgit2 to like create a blob and not actually add it to the repo, which might be possible. I saw something in here that was like, you could create a blob somewhere in here. Blob. Write an in-memory buffer to the ODB as a blob. But then the problem is that actually like that updates the state, which we don't want. We would kind of want to create a blob without doing that. So you could like make like a new ODB and then like in like a temporary directory, but like surely there's some way to like just do it by hand, but I don't really want to deal with that right now. I think this is easier for now. But yeah, you could, I guess, save the load of the file from the index if you did it that way. Okay. This guy is going to take in output of a mutable vector of path buff. He's not going to return this. He's return empty. Okay. The reason for that is I want to be able to recurse in here. And so we can go back over here and we can say results vec path buff like this. Okay. And then like this version of the function is just going to call the impl function like this. Womp womp. So he's going to create the return. And then he's going to okay ret. And here he's just going to call path get to repo and mute ret. Okay. Easy. Easy, easy, easy. And okay, so we've got some like moving of shit that we don't need, so put a little ampersand on here. And another move here. There we go. And this guy needs a context. Failed to update index. All right. And then what's the last piece here? The last piece is we need to look at the entry. If the entry is a directory, we need to like recurse into it. So dir entry, we have a file type is dir. Yeah, okay. If entry dot file type failed to get file type of entry is dir, we recurse. We recurse. Modified files in dir impl, and we pass path get to repo and output. Now I try to avoid recursing usually because like I worry that like if it's too deep then we're gonna stack overflow. But I'm just not gonna worry about that right now. It's mad about something. No, it's not. We're chilling. Okay. I don't know why. What's it complaining about? Parameter is only used for recursion. Okay, what the fuck? Of course that's... Why is that a lint? Hello? How else would you recurse? What the fuck does it want me to do? Why is this bad? It could contain a useless calculation and can make the function... What? Use instead. Dude. It could contain a useless calculation making the function similar. I'm not using this as a fucking number, though. That's so stupid. That's a stupid fucking lint. Fuck off. Because here they're saying that, like, the thing is, like, unused, essentially, because it's just showing, like, the depth. Too many code paths in the linting code are currently untested and prone to cut, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, fuck you. Fuck you. Allow. What is this called? Clippy, only used in recursion. Link, go away. Go away. Okay. Okay. So somewhere now, we were looking at function workdir, and he is going to modify files in dir with repo root and the current repo. Okay. Modified files is this. With the context of failed to find modified files. And this is going to return a result now. And then we can return a workdir state with modified files and return it. And I guess we'll do like an into here. Modified files and modified files into. Oh, interesting. He doesn't like that. So can we like into iter and then collect? Interesting. Okay. Sure. Whatever. Whatever. Okay. So here now, this guy needs to say context failed to retrieve workdir state. And we're chilling. Okay, so now let's print out the workdir state. And that should give us a clue about if this is working or not. Failed to find modified files, failed to update the index, failed to read index from spit get index. No longer exists. What the fuck? Why? What the fuck? Cargo run? That's very strange. Very strange. No longer exists. Something's wrong there. So here he's saying that the index, but what happens if I just don't try to update it? Failed to find, failed to get directory, too many open files. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Too many open files. So this is failed to retrieve workdir state. Blah, blah, blah. Too many open files. Failed to get directory iterator. So that's here. Is this something fucking stupid? So if this is a directory, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we'll print out the path here. Just to see if we're like infinitely recursing or something and that's causing problems. It's fucking so stupid. So fucking stupid. That's so dumb. Why would I ever want that? Oh my god. Okay, fine. So Entries for the current and parent entries for the current and parent directories are skipped. No, they're not. Right? Am I high? Or maybe there's a bug in here. It's possible. Would it make sense to set up a little file watcher that auto rebuilds and runs an experiment test? I mean, I think that I am going to add a file watcher to this eventually. I'm not sure I quite understand what you mean there, but we are going to set at the end I'm going to watch the current working directory and or the repo directory I should say, and rerun this on that. Oh, for your own coding, you probably rebuild 100 times an hour. I mean, but like, I don't really mind for the most part, right? Because like, I don't think that I want to like I'm running cargo run, right? And it's like, I don't want this to like automatically close and reopen itself. I don't know. I don't really see the value. If my build times were super slow, I might want like incremental rebuilds in the background, but I don't think they're that bad, so I'm not really worried about it. Oh, I'm just an idiot. This is supposed to be entry path. I'm just recursing with the same path over and over and over again. I'm just a fucking dumbass. That's why. There we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, I forgot to cargo run with the current state. Okay, there we go. So now it's running through a lot of stuff. That took a long time, which is kind of annoying. Because probably we want to check if the path is ignored before we recurse. That makes sense. That way we won't like recurse through our build directory when we know every single thing of it is going to be ignored. That's much faster. Okay. And so now we have no modified files, which is kind of interesting. We should have at least this like one test.c, right? We have like its status. We have some modified files and test.c. So like what's going on there? What's going on there? Oh, I guess we also only we only looked at one directory there, which is like our current work directory, which is stupid. So why is that? And that was just because we rotated these two things. So is path ignored, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we'll do it this way. Let's print the entry path instead of the path. Okay, so this is looking at test.c, cargo lock, get blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then just not recursing into any of them. Like, why isn't he recursing into source? He should be. So I guess we'll write down, this is ignored. Oh, I wonder if it's because like the paths have to be relative to the repo root or something. Because this is clearly wrong. Yeah, so it's probably something like is path ignored is probably expecting something else. Path ignored. Path is ignored. It was on repository though. Ignored. So maybe a repository object file but relative to the repo's work there. There we go. Okay, so we need to be relative to something. Okay. So I guess somewhere we have to What might be easier is we iterate the first directory outside. No, that doesn't make sense. We just want to like strip the first part of the path everywhere here, because we know that the first part of the path is like the repository root. So I wonder if there's like a way to do that easily in Rust. Path. Strip prefix. Nice. Nice, so we'll use a root here. And here we will pass in path twice. And then when we look at the here, somewhere, we're going to say let entry path is equal to stripped. Let repo relative path is equal to entry path strip prefix root. And then we can check the repo relative. This, all right. No, sorry, here. And then here we pass the root here. Uh-huh. What doesn't it like here? Oh, because it can fail, so. Expect. Failed to strip root from entry path. Okay. Okay. And this doesn't have to borrow. All right. Cargo run. And does that fix it? /test.c should not start with dot. What the fuck? What? Okay, let's rust backtrace equals 1 to see whether that's exactly happening. So this is coming from modified files in dir, line 784. So we're saying, hey, could you get the path of this entry path? Oh, does this need to be also the root repo relative entry path, I guess? Maybe? Let's see. There we go. Okay, so sweet. Target was ignored, but everything else wasn't. So if I look at my workdir state, modified files is still nothing, which is kind of bad. Not good. So did we look at the files that we expect to see modified? Source app mod. Source app mod. So we did. So now we're just looking at, well, why the fuck is this not working? So we can say print line hold on. Modified files enter. We get the modified files. What the fuck is that giant coffee cup? I'm thirsty. I'm pushing to ret, not output. Oh yeah, that would do it. Good eye. Thank you. Thank you. I agree. Okay, so now we have modified files is every single file. Also, not right. Okay, so why is that happening now? Print line file not found in index, and then here we'll say content did not match, and we'll even write out a couple. like this. Entry content. And index content. Does Clippy still complain even after you started pushing output? Certainly not, right? Certainly I was just a fucking idiot and just didn't, it was like correctly warning me and I got mad at it. Good thought there too. Okay. So here they're kind of saying that the file is not found in index for every single file. So that's why. But why not? Index, get path. Get one of the entries in the index by its path. Okay. Print line. Repo relative entry path. Maybe this is like a mistake? Maybe I like fuck this up in some way? But target is like ignored. So repo relative entry path is res. Okay. I don't really understand the problem then. I must not understand how to use this like index thing. So this gives me an index, and I should be able to say get path, get one of the entries by its path. Okay. So what's the fucking problem? What is the problem? So this was crashing before because it didn't like... Repo path should not start with... Oh, hold on. Repo path. So get index by path. Path to repo path. Converts a path to a C string that is usable by libget2 API. Okay. So here it takes in repo path. Repo path should be relative, not a Windows prefix. Should be relative. Should not start with ... Okay, and then... So it does seem like I should be using the repo relative entry path, but then that's always returning none. Okay, let's get out of this context and go into like some testing. So cargo init next shell p roast up. I'm clearly not understanding something. So let's see. Let's see. Cargo init. And we can go to main and we can add get to. And then we can say let repos equal to get to repository open current directory. And let's just see if that gives us anything of value. Try to run. Give it a sec. He doesn't like this because we're missing a bunch of dependencies that we need. So let's exit this. We'll use the spit shell, the spit working direct, or the spit development environment. Oi, man. I feel like what I want to do is like not that complex. I don't understand why I'm having so much trouble. But I think this is just how coding goes sometimes. Okay. Crack and run. We'll give him a sec. He's got a think. Much better. Much better. Come on, buddy. You can do it. Okay. So repo doesn't implement debug. That's fine. It's fine. It didn't crash. Let index is equal to repo index unwrap. This has to unwrap here as well. I forgot. Unwrap. And then we can say index get path test. Okay. So here, let's touch test, get add test. So we should have now a file test in the index. So we'll say index entry. And then let's print line the ID of the index entry. Or we'll just print line the index entry, I guess. And let's say -1. Here, okay. And this guy probably has to be like a... He needs to be a path, so we'll say path new, like this. And we have to use path. Cargo run, baby. Okay. So he doesn't like that unwrap on a non-value. Okay, so what if we do like /test? No. So like, what the fuck? You know? Get index by path. Index, path, get index stage normal. Maybe we'll try using get index stage normal here instead. Bro. Why have a thing called index stage any if it doesn't accept any stage? What the fuck, man? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Get index by... What's this thing called? Get by path. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. Like... it's probably an index.c by path stage. Okay, so get index entry stage set. What does this do? That's probably a macro. So you probably define. So here, do some shit while 0, okay. And I see. So he sets the stage on the key for this get IDX map get. Uh-huh. So he says KH get, which comes from K hash, KH get, blah, blah, blah. Oi, 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 oi. KH get IDX map. Oh, I see. So this is going to call IDXI case. Yeah. Which calls khash impl, which khash impl does something. Oh, god damn it. Which return H plus index entry stage. I don't get it. Get index stage any libget2 not working. Like, fuck off. Like, oh, I guess maybe the version of libget2 that my system is using isn't the same. That's a possibility. So can I, like, maybe go in here and it's like env rep get2 libget get. Where is this, like, libget2 coming from? Oh, it's probably checked out by the build? right? Does like my environment doesn't have, does it? Does it have libgit2? Package config. I guess we can look at what our cargo or our Nix shell is doing. Yeah, it doesn't have libgit2 in here, so which means that like we must be compiling libgit2 here. Yup. And in here, he must have that index.h. And we can see if he has the like any flag. He does. Some APIs take a stage to match, passes value to match any. That's just like a fucking fuck. Oh, okay. Okay, it's fine. It's fucking fine, I guess. Like, there's just some bug in like libgit2, I guess. Okay, we'll just fucking use normal, I guess. I don't know. I'm not like happy with that. But it's fine. We'll just say here, note, wanted to use stage any, but index entry is always none in that case. Fine, fine, we'll fucking do it your way. Cargo run. And this guy can't be stage any, this is stage normal. And then I guess we have to say fix me. Need to think about merge conflicts later. I don't know. Oh, it's fucking annoying. It's fucking annoying, but it is what it is. It's fine. It's fine. I guess like there's a bug that like, you know, I should go and fix that, to be honest. That's one of the things. And here we go. So modified files. It's giving me every directory as part of this, which is a problem. Because we have to continue here. Little bug, no biggie. All right. There we go. Okay, so we have git repo, test, and app mod. And if we say git status, those are the 3 modified files. So I think we're fucking chilling. That's pretty sick. I think we're looking good. So I think we can call this done. And we can say we're on to trying to extract the diff now. Okay. Okay, so let's just do like a git add -u and git commit -m. Find modified files in workdir. All right. Okay. So I guess this can become uncommented. That should work now. No more print line here. Basically every print line in here should go away. I guess theoretically, if we found them useful, maybe it makes sense to replace them with debug. So we can say, maybe we can say up here, debug checking modified for this thing, which is the entry path. Then we can say that the repo relative path is this. Debug. Okay. So at least that should compile, and these logs should go away unless I say, please fucking show them. Chillin', nice. And I guess workdir state also, this one can go away. Okay. All right. Okay, so what's next? Next is the GUI needs to request the working directory diff. So I guess we have this like diff target somewhere that we added yesterday. And I guess we just have like a workdir on here. Uh-huh. And people have to use him now. So when we come over here, we say, hey, I am asking for a diff. And we support going from object to index. We support going from object to object. I guess here we should probably fix the like ordering here. So this is supposed to be from and to. This goes from to. So I don't really understand. We have something backwards in here. Index files, object files, modified files between trees, to tree 1 to tree 2. From, oh yeah, these are just swapped. This is like this. Okay. And so now we want to do one that's like from index to workdir. Okay. And we'll say modified files workdir modified files, I guess. Modified files with index, which we already have, actually. Those are just written down in the repo state, but maybe in a different format. So this like modified files thing, he gives me a set of files, which are, I guess this is like the file content, probably. Yeah, path to content, and he pushes the content in there. Yep. Okay. So here we want like modified files index to workdir. Yep. And I guess probably what happens here? Failed to retrieve modified files. I guess it would be nice to have different error messages here, but it's fine, doesn't matter. And what did I call that function? This was modified files index workdir. Okay. There is a similar function name. I fucking copy pasted it. How did it get it wrong? Okay. Okay, so what's he gonna do? I guess we should pass in maybe the repo state, because we've already looked for the files that are like that we know are different. What is like get repo state? No. Where is like where I know that like sometimes we look at the repo state here. Repo state, oh, it comes with the fucking request. Alright, fuck it. Doesn't matter. We will just retrieve the list, I guess. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so here's a self workdir. Let workdir modified files is equal to modified files in workdir. Okay. Then we need to get the index file list. Yep. And then we say, please give me the modified files like this. Womp, womp, womp. But this is going to be from diff target index here to diff target workdir, and this is going to be index files to modified files, and we need to do a little bit of magic here. Okay, so this guy gives me a file list item which goes by object ID. So here we need to say, hey, here's a file list item that's just the path directly. Seems reasonable. So this is just a path buff. Okay. Then, whoever uses, like, does that OID lookup, someone must match the file type, paths to contents here. And here he just has to say, hey, we have file list item path now. And here we're just going to say return okay sum fs read path for now. I guess here was like context failed to read workdir data. Okay. Sick. And then when we call this modified files between trees here, we just have to update the workdir files. So modified files dot into iter map the value to a file list item path, and we collect that. And then we just say workdir files here. And I guess this actually has to go from V to the path V. Yep, boom, boom. And this can be a hash map of path buff to file list item. Okay. And, oh, the first thing has to be into, like, as like a bucket of bytes. Into, it says into OS string into vec. And this needs to be vec u8, I guess. No method name into vec. Oh my god. What does my OS string have? Into encoded bytes. There we go. Okay. And we have to clone it, probably over here. There we go. Okay, so I think that should be enough to allow us to get the diff. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to quickly hack the GUI side of things. So we're going to look at GUI, where we look at the current index. That's a commit view. So somewhere he says, hey, could I get a diff for the index right now? And here I'm just going to quickly hack this out to ask for the diff from the index to the workdir. Just to see. Just to see. Because if that works, then we're fucking chilling. Okay, so maybe that worked? To some extent. He's definitely got a diff, but it's not the diff we want. Why is that? Because each of these paths are not repo root relative. So he thinks that everything's been moved from source app mod to /source app mod. That's pretty funny. Okay, so here we just want to use the repo relative root when we push the entry output. Womp 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 womp. Repo relative. All right. Okay. That should do it, I think. No. So now, so it thinks that any file that wasn't modified is completely fucking removed now. Because we are only looking Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. So we need to over here. We need to look at the index files as well. Right. So we're gonna say let workdir files equal to index files clone for now. And then we're going to say for file in modified files, we're going to edit the workdir, this like workdir files thing. Workdir files, insert file into OS string into encoded bytes. File list item path v file. Yup, and this has to be like a clone here as well. Uh-huh. And then probably this guy needs to have clone now. Uh-huh. Sure. Something about this doesn't feel quite right. But that's fine. It's fine. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. I'm pretty sure this is right now. Yeah, so this is showing we have a new file, test.c, commit view has this change, repo has this change. This looks right to me, to be honest. We have workdir. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so we have to think about now how we want to present this like working directory files. So I guess it probably makes sense to just sit it underneath the stage files like it is in git status. So we can go into our commit view and I guess we are going to have to construct two diff requests. So this is going to return like vector of diff requests, and before when we returned none, was return empty vector. Well, I guess we can say vec new here, vec new here. Here we're going to say please give me these guys, and then everybody who calls this now has to be called requests, right? Last requested diff has to now be like everybody here has to be vector of diff request. And here we say if requests len is greater than 0, is not empty. If requests is not empty, we shove the requests in here, which means the request diffs is like a vector of diff request. This is vec new instead of none. And somebody is going to be mad about this. So this is at 124. Requests is not a known type. Why not? This is a fully qualified type, vector of diff request. Oh. So this is if the index has changed or the request has index. I see. Okay, so this is like so we need to say like any requests need refresh or something. Yeah. And it's gonna be like requests iter any x.to is equal to diff target index, or x.from is equal to diff target index. I don't know. This isn't. I don't think this is right. I don't think this is right because like I don't think that like the work tree diff. I don't know if it should be initiated by the GUI because like the way we've stored the info. The way we've stored the info is, so hold on, struct repo state. We've kind of stored this as a list of modified files, but now if a file changes twice, we don't have that information. So we actually probably need to store some sort of hash of the file, which kind of fucking blows. And then also like this API here for like request diff, like he's, this doesn't feel right either because like it seems like what should happen is if the index view is open, the app should say, hey, I noticed that the working dir changed. Could you please, here's like a new version of the diff. Or I guess like the app could say, hey, GUI, just so you know, the working directory changed. And then the app could say, oh, okay, could you give me a new diff then, if I'm looking at it? I guess that makes more sense. So that's fine. It's just this repo state. Maybe that's fine. Because we could just emit a signal of that the working dir changed. In which case, like, does the working directory even have to be in the repo state? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Who would have guessed that the VM power user would not be the target audience for a Git GUI? Yeah, that's it does feel like a lot of the Git GUIs are trying to like replace the Git command line usage. I don't like that. But yeah, you're right. It does seem like anybody who's on the command line already is happy to be on the command line. I don't know, man. I feel like I don't use Vim because it's like shit. I use Vim because it's like a good tool. And if like there were Git GUIs that felt like they were good tools for me, they would be great. I would use them. Okay. So I think I have to think about this stuff a little bit. I'm kind of I'm not really sure where I want to go with like the API and stuff. And so I think just like blindly typing right now is going to be like, I'm going to like steam ahead in the wrong direction, which is a waste of time. So I think I'm going to call it here and think about it overnight. And come back at this tomorrow. But I think we got to somewhere pretty good, right? Like oh fuck. Git diff. Can I go back? Oh, fuck me. We'll go to the commit view and we'll just undo a bunch of times so that we can go get back to the state where this is working. Like this, yep. And we can show that we got into a state at least. At the very least, we got to a point where we can see modified files. So this is modifications from the index to the working directory, and that's like working pretty well. So I'm happy with that. The thing that we have to do next is figure out how to like present this and what the API between like the GUI side and the app side should look like. And I don't have like a good idea of what I want right now. So happy with the progress today, and I think we'll be back at it tomorrow. If you like what you saw, I stream most days at around 1 or 2 o'clock Pacific time for somewhere between 1 and 2 hours. We hit an hour 30 today, which is a little on the shorter side, to be honest. We're usually closer to 2. Yeah. We're working on like a variety of things. So the major projects right now are terminal emulator and this guy, this like Git GUI. But we've also covered a lot of other stuff like virtual file system, operating system, neural networks, web dev. Right, we're covering a lot. Whatever I feel like doing is what we work on. So if you want to check out some of the other projects, there's a GitHub link and a YouTube link in the Twitch description, where YouTube has like playlists for each project, and GitHub has most of the projects up in like they're like a prettied up state a little bit. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a Twitch link in the YouTube description. You should swing by and say hi if you're online in between 1 and 4 Pacific time. I think that's it for me. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye!